I kind of agree with the decision. I think it was a 29-28 decision based on that criteria. So
you didn't look
I know some of my
surprised, if I was being honest. When I was looking at you, you didn't look like you were shocked by it or anything.
no, yeah, I mean, I'll call it like I see it,
So how are you feeling today, man? Obviously, I saw you drop the news on the surgery, right? What is it, a deviated septum? Is that, sort of the damage you took from that past fight?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I might have. They asked me if I had broke my nose before. I was like, I don't really know. Like, I don't know, probably, But I had the thing that I was having a problem with was that I was snoring every night, and my wife was like, "You don't snore every night. You only snore like that if you've been drinking." So she's like, "You're not drinking every night. You're still snoring like that every night." So,
Yeah.
and it was like I've just had a lot of like stuff like congestion and like can't feel like I got a headache all the time. And so
It's
I was
fun.
like, I better
So
get
it was
checked out.
the wife seeing you snore and the headaches and all that kind of made you think, I gotta probably get this show. When did you get it checked out?
Today actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. So I just got it looked at today. Well, I had the CT scan the night of the fight, and they said because they were worried my orbital was broke, but luckily my orbital didn't break, but my nose was broke. So,
Wow.
um, and then I just thought, okay, I'll just let that heal, and then I started having some of these issues. So I was like, I better have another look at it and see how bad it is.
I don't know if it's like a standard recovery time on this stuff. You said yours was pretty severe, right? What kind of recovery time are you looking at? Have you spoken with a doctor on that kind of stuff?
Um, I'm hoping only a few weeks, maybe. I like 2 to 3 weeks, maybe 4 max. But I want to fight again this year, so I'm hoping it's one of the guys that was on the show actually, Aaron McKenzie. He said he had the same surgery or something similar at least, and it was about a 2 to 3 weeks before he could start training again. So I'm hoping it's in that 2 to 4 week time frame, and then I can still get a fight in this year because I really don't want to have to sit on the shelf for more than a few weeks.
Yeah, so it doesn't sound like anything too bad, too serious. So I'm glad as far as that's concerned. But besides that, man, as far as your life, how's it been post UFC 292? Obviously, you're on a pretty high stage. You had a great fight with Katona. Has anything changed? Have a couple extra people been saying, "Hey, man, good fight, more than usual," in a post fight sort of fallout?
Yeah, for sure. I've been fighting for a long time, but
Yeah,
the social media part of it definitely was different. Being having a big UFC fight, it was being a good fight and everything, and the fallout on the social media. The last time I was in the UFC, I don't, it was different. Social media was different,
sure.
um, and so this time around, like it was a little bit different. So it's been cool, but I mean, at the end of the day, like I'm same wife, same kids, same small circle around me. So that's really all that matters.
Sure, nothing like drastically different, right?
No, no, back to work, back to life.
For sure. Is it strange that Brad Katona was originally Team Chandler, but then moved to Team McGregor after all his guys got eliminated? So now when you look at it in the end, it kind of just feels like Team McGregor won. Isn't it a bit strange?
I mean, the whole team aspect of it. I mean, it mattered, and while we were there, I think, but like it's kind of fictitious. It's not like I don't know. I guess if we would have swept the quarterfinals, then it's like for him to switch and then win one for Team McGregor. That's kind of weird, but I mean, I think it's pretty clear that Chandler's team did a lot better on the show. So,
And
you know,
that's why I'm kind of saying that, because if you were to watch the whole body of the show, you could clearly see Chandler's team was doing well, right? But somebody that maybe didn't watch the Ultimate Fighters tuning in, it's like, oh wow, Team McGregor won the Ultimate Fighter finale. You know what I mean? So it could be a bit misleading.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I guess that
But
doesn't concern you, right? It's sort of just focused on yourself. That makes sense. But speaking of Bad Man, speaking of Team McGregor, we spoke the week, I believe it was maybe like the week that the second episode came out, and you said everyone was in a group text post the show. It was all good except for one guy. Obviously we could pretty much imagine it was Brad at this point, right? But after the fight, seemed like he won a little bit of respect from you, right? It seemed like he put up a great fight, right? Much like you did. Did he sort of earn your respect through the combat and through the war you guys had?
I mean, he earned my respect in the Timmer fight. Even I remember watching. I didn't get to see that fight live. I was in the back getting ready to fight that same night. I know the show airs it like you have one fight a week, but that's not the way it's filmed. Like we have 4 fights in a single night. So if you didn't fight early in the night, then you didn't see any of the fights that happened before yours until the show came out like everybody else.
Right.
Um, and so when I saw his fight, literally, I saw his fight like 2 weeks before we fought, because his semifinals fight aired like 2 weeks before Boston. I was like, damn, dude, he looks sharper. His hands look sharper. I think that when he fights guys that force him to fight and he can't just take down and control, he's tough. He's got a chin on him. He still likes that leaping left hook thing, which I hate. I hate it, but it's like it works. It worked quite a few times on me, even though I knew it was coming. And so, um, even before I fought him, I was like, all right, this guy will bite down on his mouthpiece and fight if need be. With that said, like all my criticism of him still stands. Like, go watch his Brave fights. He literally just holds guys against the cage for 15 minutes, 25 minutes. I think one of them was decent, but the other three were just like, dude, this is ridiculous. And then when he would take guys down, he would just hold them. Like you would never hit them or create any space to do damage. And it's like, I'm all for wrestling. I'm all for takedowns too, but you got to try to hurt guys. And I feel like my criticism was valid. And it still is, because from where I was sitting at that point, I was like, I don't even know if this guy really wants to fight. But obviously he's shown that when he needs to, he's tough. And yeah, definitely earned respect for him by the time it was all said and done.
What's it like to, be back there after 7 years? Because, you're on a stage like that, it gets taken away from you. It's got to feel surreal. Like, shit, I'm back, man. I'm back. It's good to be here.
Yeah, for sure. During the walkout, I remember just feeling like I just kind of paused and looked around. It was like, I remember being here, and it's good to be back, you know?
Right.
So it was nice. It was nice to be. I mean, a fight's a fight. It's still in a cage. It's still, whether you're at an Indian gaming casino out here in California with 300 people in the crowd, or you're at the TD Garden in Boston. A fight's a fight, but the atmosphere that a building like that and the energy that gets produced, like you don't get, you don't get the opportunity. I've been fortunate enough to fight on a couple of pay-per-views in Vegas. But to be honest with you, the pay-per-views in Vegas, if you're on the prelims, like it's not overly packed in there when you go in there to fight.
Not at all.
There's a crowd. There's definitely thousands of people there, but it's not like the same energy as the main event that same evening will probably be. But when you go to a place like Boston that's been thirsty for fights for so long, and I mean that place was packed, and I was on the ESPN portion of the prelims, so still
Yeah.
wasn't even the main card yet, and that place was like rocking. So you get to feel that energy, and only fighting in the UFC or maybe one of these other major big promotions that have big audience crowds. That to me is the part that I miss, and it definitely kind of changes a part of it all, to me at least. I feed off that shit. So I don't know.
100%. That seems like it's the essence of it, right? And when you guys were fighting, I was like, how this is insane. There's a prelim fight and we have like main event energy in the building. It's insane. But by the way, you're crediting a lot of that to Boston. I think you should give some credit to you guys, because if you were just out there, with a boring fight, doing nothing in front of could be a trillion people, nobody's going to be cheering. You guys obviously put on a great fight and you got that crowd riled up, right?
Yeah, I'd hope so. I'd hope to think so. But yeah, it was funny because like when the crowd's super into it like that, like and every time like a shot would land, whether I landed a shot or he landed a shot, like you would just hear this like roar from the crowd, like
Yeah.
oh, and I would like sometimes like I'd like block a shot, but this crowd would still make the noise and it'd almost be irritating, like hey, that didn't land. But yeah, it's fun to fight in that kind of environment, that kind of energy for sure.
You said it was the longest camp you've ever had in your life, right? Good or bad, it's something you've never done before, right? How did it affect your performance in the cage? Was it good for you? Was it a new thing to experience? What was it like, fighting after such a long camp?
It was good. I was just able to get really dialed in for the whole 13 weeks. And, you know, I liked long camps. I mean, we were smart about it. I feel like we didn't like put the foot on the gas the first 4 weeks like tremendously. Um, and I'm always in the gym anyway, but we just got more dialed in sooner, with my diet and with
Right.
my strength conditioning program and all those things. You kind of get dialed in when you get a fight. Um, and so now it's just like, and now that I'm back in the UFC, I'm just like, I'm just gonna stay the course, like just stay dialed in with everything I'm doing, all year long. Um, I'm always in the gym, but like there is a difference when you get into a fight camp. Um, I always have a schedule, and I keep to my schedule for the most part. And yeah, 13 weeks was a long time. I do remember feeling like, God damn, I'm tired. I'm ready to fight, and I felt like it was like probably around week 8. I was like, I'm in shape. I'm ready. And
I'm wondering if
have
there's a
to.
burnout. That's why I was answering. That's why I was asking you the question.
No, I feel like we did a good job. I feel like when I was getting like my body was getting worn down a little bit, we pulled back a little bit, and I've just gotten smarter over the years on how to do that. And back in the my heyday, I'd be like, no, you just got to train hard every day, and even if you feel like shit. But I've gotten better about like, all right, man, like you're running your dick into the dirt here, and you need.
Yeah.
Would it be better to get that third session in today, or would it be better to rest and then come back tomorrow morning recharged and ready to put in another day's work? So just kind of learning from the years, but I didn't mind the long camp at all. I wish every camp I had, but that's the thing. Now they're not going to be 13 weeks. Now they're going to be 6 weeks, 8 weeks. So I've got to be
Right.
ready. I've got to be ready to switch the flip, and I don't want to have to waste part of my camp getting in shape, because I do feel like a lot of guys do that. They kind of like, yeah, they're kind of in the gym, but they're not like in very good shape. They're not doing a bunch of, keeping up on their running and their cardio. And then when it's time to flip the switch, that takes them 3 or 4 weeks just to get their body acclimated to the hard training before they can put 3 or 4 more hard ones in. So my goal is just to stay in good shape. And it's kind of, that's what I'm battling right now in my brain, just because I'm like, God damn it, this surgery, and I don't know, but I'm sure I'll find a way to keep moving.
Yeah. You want to stay active, right? But the surgery's kind of delaying it a little bit.
Yeah, I was trying to get a fight as soon as I can, pretty much, but yeah, we'll see what happens. But I'm hoping this year still, if I could fight in December, that'd be great. I think that timeline fits well for me.
And back to the fight, right? Did that fast pace of it was a fast pace, right? Going into it right away, you could tell. Did that have anything to do with maybe you guys not liking each other and really want to get after it? Or was that sort of just a byproduct of the styles, do you think?
I mean, that was my game plan, was just to walk him down.
Okay.
Uh, what I
Whatever
had seen
comes
from
with that, I
Brad,
guess.
well, yeah, I'd seen that if I stay on the outside and like try to use my length and skate the cage at all, he's gonna press you. He's gonna try to hold you against the cage. He's good at that.
Yeah.
Um, and so I was like, he can't really take me down from the open. I didn't think he could, and he didn't. Like an open double leg or something. And I was like, so if I'm just moving forward and he's always on the back foot, and I'm not letting my back get close to that cage, this fight's gonna stay standing. And that was pretty much what I did from the jump, is just move forward for the most part. I wish I would have played the outside game more. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe we won one fight of the
Hindsight, I
night,
guess.
but
Yeah.
it's hard to tell. Maybe he would have held me against the cage for 3 rounds. It would have been a boring ass decision, and I wouldn't be sitting here with a UFC contract today. So you never know. But maybe I would have whooped his ass and not got hit so much too. So who knows?
Is it surprising that the fight wasn't, sometimes on your back? And you did allude to it before, that he does like to use the takedowns to ride out victories a lot of times. Are you surprised that at no moment in the fight were you guys on the ground?
Not really. Just because of the forward pressure, and I knew he was gonna have a hard time taking me down from the open. I think he would have had a hard time trying to take me down from the cage too. But
Yeah.
he had like a deceptive ability to hold guys against the cage in previous fights, where guys were just stuck there and they would just stay there for minutes, and he's just killing that clock, and he's winning because he's in the better position there.
He's not the
And
biggest guy either. Is he strong? Is he good at positioning?
I think that's what it was. I mean, I didn't really have to feel it with him against the cage, luckily, but I think he's just really strong and he has a weird endurance. A lot of times I feel like guys that get underneath, you shoot a shot against the cage and you're stuck under there. That's a tiring position to be in. And so guys don't want to sit there for too long.
Okay.
But he seems to like he'll sit there for 3 minutes in that position and then he'll like break or get a takedown or whatever, and then like he's still fresh. Like he's got a tank on him. So um I didn't want to be in that kind of a fight. I wanted to be in a fun fight, and I wanted to try to hit him in the face. So we went a
Maybe,
different route.
yeah, maybe an irrelevant question, but I'm curious. And obviously not now, maybe someday down the line, but you're a big guy, man. Like when I saw you in there, I was like, you're big. And, we're talking about the size of Katona, and it makes me bring up the question, like, would you ever move up to like 145? Because you definitely have the frame for a weight class like that easily.
Yeah, I could fight it. I mean, I've fought at 170s, 155s, 145s, but I like fighting at 135s. I started doing this water loading stuff. The guys on the show are the ones who kind of taught me, actually, because I'd heard of it. I'd seen people doing it, but I had never messed with it. Apparently, everybody does it now, because out of the 16 guys on that show, all 15 of them did water loading except for me.
Except for you.
And so I was like, well, man, if everybody's doing this now, the guys teach me how to do it. They taught me how to do it, and I've done it the last 2 weight cuts, and it's been the easiest cuts I've ever had. So I'm like,
Wow.
well, as long as I can keep doing this, um, and I mean, I literally made weight the night before this Boston fight on accident. Like I didn't mean to cut that much.
Really?
Like I was 7 over when I started the water weight cut, like the actual like dehydration and depletion, or like like get the water out of my body.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, I'll cut like 3 or 3.5. It was like 9 o'clock at night, the night before weigh-ins, and then I'll wake up early in the morning, cut another session of 3.5 pounds or so, and then I'll be done. That's how I usually do it.
Yeah.
And we did pretty light work for maybe an hour and a half, and I lost 7 pounds. I was like, oh shit, I didn't mean to
It
do that.
works.
Yeah, I was able to have a little bit of a cup of water before bed the night before weigh-ins, which doesn't happen too often for me. So.
Prior to the water, because you did say you fought at 70 before. I mean, that's drastic as hell, 35 to 70. Prior to the water loading, was it tough for you to make weight? Because I don't recall seeing you struggle on the show to make weight at any point.
They didn't really show it on the show, but
Yeah, I
the
guess
first
just
weight,
from what you see at
yeah,
weigh-ins.
the first weight cut was not a good one on the show.
Really?
Nah, it was just I just had the cut itself went fine. Like I was able to get the weight off, and like I made the weight fine. I felt decent, but then my body just really shut down on me, and the UFC PI had given me these 3 like rehydration drinks to drink after weigh-ins, and it says like on the thing like, okay, drink this one over the course of 10 minutes, so drink it slow essentially, and
Yep.
then wait 10 or 15 minutes, drink the next one. Long story short, I drank them all the correct amount of time and everything, but they were cold, and they're not supposed to be cold. And I threw them all up. So
Oh, shit.
and then like I was just cramping for, usually I'll cramp up and stuff for like an hour or two, and then like as I'm putting the salts back in my body and kind of getting rejuvenated, the cramping will go away. But I was cramping all through that night essentially before the fight, and so I was kind of concerned, like, shit, why is my body not doing a very good job of recovering? And
Was that
so
the
then the water
Mondo
loading
fight?
stuff.
Gutierrez fight?
Yeah.
Well, good thing you got it done quick.
Yeah. I'm just being real. It was not a good weight cut. So then the next time I was like, I'm just gonna do the water loading thing. I'm not gonna, what am I gonna lose? And so yeah, it was like drastically better. And then I did it again for this fight, and again, easy weight cut. So I'm gonna stay at 35 for the remainder of my career is my plan.
Okay. Speaking of the last fight, obviously it's that important one. We just saw it. It's still being talked about pretty much. Do you feel like if your eye doesn't get compromised right before the fight ends that you win? Because it seemed like you might have been up on the significant strikes before you sort of had that eye incident late in the fight, right? And that obviously compromised you, which led to him landing significant strikes of his own and tallied that up for him, right?
Yeah, it was kind of, watching it back, just frustrating because I do feel like I'm winning more of the rounds in both the second and the third round. Like if you look at the duration of the round, like I'm winning like 3.5 minutes of it. But then, the second round he kind of wobbled me at one point. So he would the part he won big. And then the third round, the part he won, when my eye kind of swelled up on me, he won big. So, yeah, it'd be, you could win a lot of a fight and still lose the fight. So, but I do know how they score it. I'm pretty sure it's like the number one criteria to the judge should be damage. That's how it's written to them. And so if that's the case, then I kind of agree with the decision. I think it was a 29-28 decision based on that criteria. So
you didn't look
I know some of my
surprised, if I was being honest. When I was looking at you, you didn't look like you were shocked by it or anything.
no, yeah. I mean I'll call it like I see it,
Fair enough.
I always have friends and stuff that are like, nah, you won that fight, and I
Hey,
always try
listen,
to
man,
be
it was a
honest with my
close fight. Regardless of how you slice it, it was a close fight. We were just talking about the significant strikes being close, tallying up at the end. It was a close fight, Cody. I mean, and it was a great fight nonetheless. That remains true.
well, thank you. Yeah, it was a fun one for sure. My
So
wife
what?
says don't stop having fights like that, so we'll see.
Yeah. One more question about Katona. You fought a lot of guys, man, to your credit, over the course of your career at 135 pounds. Even in the UFC, you fought some tough guys. Where do you think Brad sort of stacks up with those guys? Is he up there with the very best guys you faced on a skill level?
Yeah, I think so. I think the best guys I fought are obviously Aljamain,
Sure.
John Dotson for sure, Ray Borg, and I'd probably put Brad Katona right there, right under that, probably. So outside of those three guys, I think he's right below them if I had to rank them.
Awesome, man. And confidence seemed to be an important factor for you. You sort of alluded to the confidence aspect that it helped you get back into the UFC a second time, right? I mean, obviously you took the loss recently, but you had a great fight. You had Dana White buzzing about it, people buzzing about it all over the place. You had a great performance. Is the confidence still high after a fight like this, regardless of you losing on paper, technically?
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm confident, but I'm also I know I got to win. So now it's just about going out and getting victories and fighting a little smarter, probably. I still want to chase bonuses for sure. I feel like that's where I'm going to make my money. But I've got to, get back to this game of hitting people and not getting hit. Although sometimes walking is a good strategy for me once I get my groove. Just maybe waiting until the fight matures a little bit before we get into that. So yeah, I mean I'm still confident, but I just got to get back to I just think I get outclassed a lot of guys, so I got to get back to that.
In a perfect world, right? And now we know it is going to be in the UFC octagon. When do you think we'll see you back in there? In a perfect world, because obviously we don't know anything. We can't control the future, but what do you think?
Um, if I'm gonna get this surgery, probably toward the later part of September, it's looking like. Um, so then October, so November. I mean, I'd like to be in there in December. That would be what I'd want. December, January, I guess would work, but I would rather fight in December. Get one more this year, so that's what I'm gonna shoot for. And a bunch of the UK fans keep hitting me up and saying they want to see me fight Davy Grant. So I think
Oh,
I actually love watching Davy Grant fight. That guy's like such a scrapper,
yeah.
and I hate the fact that I don't have probably have a significant reach advantage over him because I love having a reach advantage. But so it's like all these things I'm looking at. I'm like, this is the kind of guy that you're gonna get in a car crash with. But I've literally had like a ton of UK fans say that, and I was like, dude, actually, I kind of like that fight. So who knows? Maybe I'll see Davy Grant someday.
Man, you just left us with quite the teaser. But anyway, Cody, thanks for the time. Unbelievable fight at UFC 292. Easily one of the best tough finales of all time. And best of luck with that surgery, man.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you having me. Take care of
All right.
yourself.
Take care, man. Best of luck to you and the family, and speak soon.